It has truly been several years in the making, but after some mishaps and some questionable things that happen behind the scenes, we finally get here. Jon Moxley versus MJF. Maxwell Jacob Friedman for the AEW World Championship. And this is a match been long been waiting for. Well, it was originally going to be what looked like Hangman Adam Page versus MJF. Then the politics happened, and then CM Punk versus MJF. Then Punk got hurt, and they had to delay it. Then Punk decided to commit all-out brawl-out with the media scrum incident. So we couldn't do that, so we had to go back to our old reliable, the American Ace, the American Ace, the American Ace, Jon Moxley versus the Devil You Think You Know, MJF. And as much as I would wish Punk had never done what he done, I do love the build-up they did for Mox and MJF, and I don't think it would have topped, and I don't know what else you could do with MJF and Punk in terms of microphone talk, besides making more references of their past, specifically Punk's past, but we did all that stuff earlier this year, so Jon Moxley with his history within Regal and MJF's history within Regal makes sense. It really does. And I know people were mad that Bryan Danielson didn't win the world title when they thought he should have rightfully earned it. As much as I would have loved that, I get why they gave it to Moxley, because he is their ace. He is the American ace. He is old reliable for them. So they know we can trust this guy. He is our top guy. He was even working as champion without a written contract. Like he had, like, his contract had expired apparently before All Out, and he recently had just resigned, which means that AEW had their world champion without a contract, and he legally could have went anywhere and, you know, pulled a WCW Monday Night War era shtick. But luckily that's not the case, because Moxley has loyalty to people. And plus, even if he wasn't company loyal, he's at least not a horrible person to do that, or be coerced into doing that. Especially how his WWE run ended up, and he stuck to the end. Man. But yeah, Moxley was their ace. He had to be the guy. If Punk couldn't do business, then Mox was going to do business for him. It makes sense to me that Mox would be the one. If Punk's not going to put over MJF, then Mox will. And considering how much impact Mox has had for AEW, he was like, out of everyone besides Hangman and Punk, he was the next guy you could use to really showcase this is AEW versus MJF. Considering MJF's whole shtick has been contracts and renewal politics, he didn't want to sign an extension, which I think is still stupid, because it's like, and some people actually came after me on that comment on Twitter, and someone pointed out that Stone Cold got the same treatment. He wanted a raise, Vince gave it to him without an extension. Okay, you have your point, but here's my counterpoint. That was a different time. That was the Monday Night Wars. Of course Vince would have to do the unconventional in order to beat WCW, which is why we had the Attitude Era, but that's a different subject. So, but AEW's not out to conquer the WWE world. It's just mostly here to dismantle the monopoly status. But yeah, MJF finally got his wish. He got a contract raise. No idea if he had a full-on extension, because he has been reportedly, he keeps saying he didn't and whatnot. We're not going to use the voicemail talk of the recording of their phone call, But the reason why I don't count that as evidence saying he didn't sign an extension is because why would you? Because they're trying to sell the story here, and MJF has always been known to be in his impersonal character, so it's hard to really say. And I don't think there's any confirmation from sources that said he signed an extension, and there's also no source confirming that he didn't sign an extension. So we'll have to see. But now, MJF fulfills his destiny. Strike with all your vengeance, devil. As we have become his devil worshippers. And I know some people were having issues with that, and I'm just thinking it could be a hell of a lot worse. Ain't that right? Vince fights God. But anyways, but they really decided to humanize MJF more. Like, his interaction with William Regal, where he managed to make people boo William Regal. You know, the guy who came in, smacked two of the top wrestlers in AEW, and then smeared their blood all over his face. That's it to say, I am not taking any shit anymore. I am going to be the daddy here, and you will be my children, and I will discipline you all. Face pain and whatnot. And MJF has talked about his time in his tryouts in WWE and how he wanted to commit you know what, because he was 19 and they couldn't sign him because WWE had a policy back then that they couldn't sign a 19-year-old. They had to sign someone over 19, which when you think about it, Tyler Bate exists, and that was a contradiction of itself. Like, they hired Tyler Bate, who was 19 at the time, and made him the youngest champion ever in WWE, regardless of status in the WWE title belt system. But that's still saying something. Tyler Bate, 19, we'll hire him. MJF, go F yourself. So, if I had to, unless the timeline's correct, that means they changed the policy within several months between each other, and if so, that's kind of a jerk move. I'm not an expert. I try to keep track of the timeline on all this. So, that had happened, and William Regal even goads MJF to strike me down with all your anger. If you wish to beat me, I will not stop you. And MJF is faced with temptation, and then William Regal walks away with the last laugh. And then they were teasing MJF was turning face by having him no longer be affiliated with the firm, to the point that Stokely gave the iconic, "You cannot be, the greatest crime you could ever commit is dick riding without a license." And I was like, imagine if he said this during Vince's later years before he retired, and he was calling out the tribalists saying that. Oh, that would have hell been funny. Sadly, Vince is gone, and we have to deal with Vince tribalists now against the WWE tribalists, who are also fighting the AEW tribalists, who are trying to kill off all the common sense wrestling fans. Anyways, so Moxley, the AEW champion, was heading into this match pretty much stacked to the wall, because everyone was rooting for MJF. They knew this was MJF's night. That's saying a lot, considering how much MJF is calling himself the devil, and everyone's saying, we're devil worshippers and whatnot. I wonder if religious angles are probably going to be freaking out about this and saying, the AEW is Lucifer! Bray Wyatt, part of Bray Wyatt's character is using Christian iconography. The Undertaker did a sacrifice with a giant cross. He tried to do a black marriage of sorts with Stephanie. I don't like MJF calling himself the devil and calling himself devil worshippers is like the least tame thing they ever did. Heck, I think someone could make the argument that Hangman putting a crown of barbed wire over Adam Cole's head is worse. I'm like, granted, it's still stupid to react that way because that wasn't what they were going for, but still. So, yeah. This match was, it started off slow. Like, it was really odd how they were handling this matchup for me. It just felt weird to me. And then it really picked into high gear with the Tombstone Pile Driver on the apron side of the ring. They have a thing for that. The only thing I'm pretty sure Brian would say, I would take that, but I need to be bleeding a lot. Because blood. So, yeah. So, when that was going on, MJF was doing a lot of the face moves. Like, he was getting into his emotions, not cheating at all. Then the endings happened, and MJF almost pulls the Bret Hart card because for some reason this was the year of Bret Hart resurgence in AEW with FTR, CM Punk doing the Bret Hart impersonations, the year of the Owen Cup. Those were good times. And then everything went to hell. And AEW has been trying to recover as best they could, but still. But now, MJF, after he failed to do the Bret Hart maneuver that beat Rowdy Piper all those years ago, they knocked out another referee. 2 referees get knocked out in this match. So it seems like they're now going back to, okay, remember how we were going to say the referees are going to take more authority in their power and take the power for themselves? Yeah, well, now they've been thrown out the window and now they're getting their asses kicked for the last 24 hours. Like Athena beat up Aubrey Edwards, which I'm pretty sure Jericho was secretly happy about. And now they had 2 referees get beaten up by MJF and Moxley inadvertently still. And then William Regal comes out scolding MJF, do not use the ring. Do not give in. Fight fairly. And MJF does the middle finger. Moxley tries to get a 1-over on him and gets him into a submission. MJF taps, but the referee's still out, Bryce. And then William Regal, being the Blackpool Combat Club's mentor and manager, tells him, you know, Mox, the ref's still down. You do realize you gotta have to wake him up. So he orders him to go wake the ref up so they can finish this match up. Then William Regal throws a pair of brass knuckles to MJF. And One Punch Man styles TKO Jon Moxley gets the pinfall. 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner and new AEW champion, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. So, the prophecies have been fulfilled. MJF is now the new All Elite Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. And MJF was looking like he was having like a kid on a snow day. Just with tears in his eyes and then doing a snow angel in the middle of the ramp at the end to close out the show. Yeah, we didn't get any big surprises, surprisingly. So I think AEW is kind of relenting on that, especially since it would be pretty difficult to get Mercedes involved in AEW, since I know because she's still contracted by WWE, as reports came out recently said, saying she's still contracted to WWE. They're just trying to work something out, considering all the bad blood that occurred when Vince was running things, because Vince is a moron. So, yeah, MJF is now the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. The devil now reigns over All Elite Wrestling for heading into 2023. And sure enough, he already has a contender waiting for him, either Ethan Page or Ricky Starks. Oh boy. And last but not least, there is something I'm predicting for next year. The devil shall reign, but the Mad King awaits. I'm making my prediction. I made this prediction months ago on Twitter before Elon Musk went ahead and decided to take a crapshoot on it. So I'm making it here again. Eddie Kingston, AEW World Champion 2023, book it. The Mad King versus the devil you think you know. Plus, it would remind a lot of people, I wouldn't be surprised if they referenced it even, it would remind a lot of people of the common man working hard with his hands and the millionaire D you know what storyline that WWE did back in the 80s. Think about it. This would be a modern retelling, but with Eddie Kingston and Maxwell Jacob Friedman. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the devil reigns and if the Mad King will truly arrive to claim his throne. It's going to be an interesting time. Let's hope AEW has the tasks for it. And there will be plenty of stories to tell with Maxwell at the helm, especially since he's their biggest rating booster. That's not CM Punk. We'll have to see, but I'm looking forward to MJF's run. And since I'm off next week, for the whole week at work, from work, I get to see the first week back. I get to watch AEW Dynamite in full for the first time in forever. Man. So, this is Neo Reality Entertainment, the WrestleVerse, bringing you Jon Moxley versus Maxwell Jacob Friedman. The American Ace versus the Devil. You think you know. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the content in the description below. Stay tuned for more. I'll see y'all again next time, people. Peace and take care. And welcome to the reign of the devil.